project like an Amazon, think big, act small. So act small will be meaning like act small in phases. So every feature can be divided, like the shopping cart feature, adding to wish list, providing the reviews, providing the feedback for the product. So we have to work in small iterations. So what is the meaning of fail fast? Fail fast means that once you identified that this feature is not working or the end user is not really interacting with that, so you should learn from this, and you should understand that okay, there is no point in stretching this feature. We should learn from this and we can proceed and focus on other features. So basically, lean software development is an agile framework that is based on optimizing development time and resources. So what do you mean by optimizing development time? As you know, in traditional waterfall model based projects, we have the fixed timeline. There is, first of all, they plan and initialize the whole project. The wireframes, or you can say the architecture, is being built. The SRS document, use case document, these are being made. After this, once this gets finalized, we move on to the development phase. After the once the development is done, various forms of testing is done: integration testing, beta testing. After that, once it is being thoroughly tested and the bugs are resolved, it is finally deployed and provided to the end user. So that is the traditional methodology followed in waterfall. But what we do in agile, we provide the product in small increments, small iterations. So what happens, we develop a feature in sprint cycle. So let's say we are delivering eh, one or two features in every 1 week sprint. So it focuses on optimizing the development time and resources. So you are better utilizing the time of the developers also. Side by side, you are eliminating the waste. What do you mean by eliminating the waste? That is, once you identify some features are not necessary, some features can be a luxury to implement in the first stage. That is, if your product is being used by many number of users, let's say there are 500 plus users per month or 1000 users plus months, and you're getting a good response, then some extra features you can put on the version 2 to just scale the product. So that means by eliminating waste and ultimately delivering only what the product needs. So you should have a broad picture in mind. You should have an objective that okay, if my website is Amazon, so I'm just simply, my first motive will be to display the product, make it available to the end user so they can make an informed decision and they can complete the payment process. So this is what the overall my basic objective is. Keeping in mind, we can add on and develop more features on this. So lean software development methodology focuses on these points. So a little background about lean. It comes from the Toyota production system. So everyone might know that there is a Toyota company, they manufacture cars. So way back around in 1970s, I think, they have implemented this system first in the industry. So what they used to do, a car can have many parts. They can have some aerodynamics, they can have some sunroof, some engine parts, some various other things like tires and everything. So they just decided, okay, for a normal Indian to afford these things, we need to scale down and eliminate some of these features or waste, so it will be able to available to major audience. So this principle got adopted in the IT industry also. So more about lean, it is a set of principles and tool set. So lean is not something, a set of instructions that we follow on a day-to-day basis. It is a methodology, it is a set of principles. Keeping those principles in mind, you can build a good product, a software. What is the main purpose of this? It promises to achieve quality, speed, and customer alignment. Our basic focus is that we build a quality product in good speed, that is in short iterations or increments. A sprint usually takes place from 7 days to 10 days. So in those short iterations, we can build some good features, good products, and it is aligned with the customer needs also. So let's say I am the one who needs my product built by an IT agency. I will say that, hey, okay, I need, for example, this shopping cart feature to be developed in the second sprint. In the first sprint, you can take the login sign up feature likewise. So okay, I'm in 2 weeks, I will be getting those things done. So basically means that in short cycles, short iterations, we are building a good quality product which is aligned with the customer needs. The lean approach. So the lean approach is often referred to as the minimal viable product. What does MVP means? MVP means that only integrating those features at first stage, first version, that are really required to run the application. So let's say for the same example of Amazon, you can sign up, you can log in, you can use features like reset password or forgot password. You can add some products in your cart and you can make the purchase. So you can say these are very essential features. Add-on features can be providing reviews, chatting with the seller, and customer support from Amazon. These can be, if we are starting to build products like these, this can be done in version 2. So the MVP strategy focuses on covering all the requirements, all the required features in the version 1, in which a team releases a bare minimum version of its product to the market. So the motive is to learn from the users what they like, what they don't like, and what feature to be added. So everyone, in today's generation, we use various type of websites, mobile apps, let it be Gmail or any social media websites like Facebook. Or we all have opinions like, okay, in this way they could have done better, this feature they could have added, this feature is just making the product slow. So we are deciding like what feature we are liking, not liking, and then we are providing the feedback, we are giving the reviews. So this iterates based on the feedback. They take suggestions, they weigh the pros and cons, they weigh which features are to be kept or not to be kept, and make the decision. So there is again a quote by a famous painter, that is Vincent van Gogh. He says that great things are done by a series of small things brought together. So remember, even small changes can make a huge difference. No process improvement you can make will ever be too small. So this relates very good in our real life also, as you all students are pursuing your graduation. So there are various subjects divided in the semester. So per semester there can be up to 4 or 5 or 6 subjects. So no, you are not studying everything at once. Everything is divided. You are covering those. You are covering a big course, that is engineering, in small parts. That is semester wise. It is divided. In semester there are various subjects divided. So in this way, great things are done by a series of small things brought together. Similarly, in the IT industry, there are iterations which are taking place on a day-to-day basis. Okay. So another thing is, we can see there are some benefits of lean software development, that is eliminating waste, amplifying knowledge, we are building quality and integrity, delaying the commitment, delivering fast, respecting people, and optimizing the whole thing. So I have already told about the eliminating waste, only keeping those features which are required. Amplifying knowledge, that is you should take feedback from everyone, you should amplify your knowledge, you should approach as many people as possible. You can take feedback from the UI UX designer of the website, from the developers, from the testers, from the clients, from the stakeholders, or from the venture capitalists. So at the same time, we are building the quality in our product. We are not just for the sake of building, we are building the software, we are maintaining the core structure, we are maintaining the industry practices, we make sure it is aligned to the SEO needs. And another thing is, we are delaying the commitment. So what does mean by the delaying commitment? What happens in real software project, that is sometimes features or requirements are not very clear. So sometimes, you will see the competitor's website, okay, Amazon has this competitor named Flipkart. Okay, they have a review feature, they have a shortlist feature, wish list feature, subscription feature. They have also included some payment methods, additional payment methods. So not just seeing all those features at once and setting our eyes on, but rather selecting the most important ones, understanding every feature, how it can be feasible for our product, the technological feasibility, economical feasibility, financial point of view also. So we are delaying the commitment until things are getting cleared. Once we have a clear picture, we are delivering it fast. Once everything is clear, once everything is planned out, our next objective is to deliver it as fast as possible. We are optimizing the development time and resources. Next is respecting people. That is, you have various people in your project or product working together. That is, there are stakeholders, for example, the client, your project manager, and the people involved in it. So there are again UI UX designers, developers, testers, deployment experts, DevOps experts, SEO experts. So we have to take feedback from every people. No feedback is either too small or too big. Everything is included in the process. So in the whole, we are optimizing the whole thing in the scenario. Once we are optimizing the whole thing, covering only what's important, optimizing it, then we can scale it in the future. Okay, so Siddharth will explain in more brief, so the idea gets more clear to you guys. Siddharth, please take over. I will just click on next slide and you can tell me when to click on next.
Yes. So click on next.
Yeah.
So now we are going to talk about eliminate waste. Okay. So anything that doesn't add value can be eliminated. I mean, in the software development, what are the features that can be eliminated? So that we're going to discuss. So anything that doesn't add any value. So this can be done in scope analysis stage. So in the beginning of the software developer, the business analyst will do the analysis of the entire software, the entire scope of what that it will be done, and then they can figure out. So this kind of features is not going to make any value, so we can take it out. So in that way, the the unnecessary features can be taken out. And for example, consider there is an Amazon website. Yeah, we keep on saying that Amazon website, but it's a very good example. So in the Amazon website, what happens if the customer wants to add a messaging feature like WhatsApp? So does it make any value? So can an Amazon user, as a user, can I able to post any status like I'm posting on WhatsApp? It is not going to make any value. No one is going to see the status that I'm. Alright, so we can eliminate that feature if the client wants to give us. Okay, so the next one is removing the unnecessary code and functionality. So we Indians have a very bad habit of keeping the old item garage, right? For example, even my baby cycle, which was about 25 years before, is my garage. No one is using it. It is not going to make any value, but it is there. So these kind of this process is happening in software development also. So basically, the software developer will keep the code commented inside the program, inside the software itself. Okay, which is considered as unnecessary, but they are afraid to delete it or remove it because they might think that this feature can be used in future. So those kind of unnecessary code and functionalities can be removed. Okay, so and the next option is unclear requirements. So what is considered unclear requirements? So customer will try to explain thing which is something that they require, but the scope will become unclear. So if I add some features into the software, I have to make sure that it is not affecting any other features. So if I find out that the adding a new feature is going to affect something in future, so I have to consider that as a clear requirement. Okay, so those kind of issues can be eliminated, and then extra processes, features, and defects can be eliminated. So no single product can be developed properly in the beginning of the stage. So there will be more defect. Okay, so there will be more unnecessary processes and features. For example, a particular software might have various different payment gateways. So we don't need to use that. So we can remove the unnecessary extra process that is involved to do the same features. I mean, to do the same work. So that can come out. So in this way, we can eliminate these many. Okay, next slide. Okay, amplify learning. So what is the meaning of amplifying the learning? So first of all, software development is more about learning throughout the cycle. Okay, so 5 years before I was a developer, like I said. So I used to do the programming in Java, but these most of the projects are not happening through Java. So rather than that, JavaScript and many other different frames that we have started using it. So which means eventually we have to start learning and we have to find out what is the latest features or a framework that is used in the market. So based on that, we have to amplify our learning skill. And then software design is a problem-solving process. Of course. So in theory, in the practical, we used to give some, we used to do some programming. So what we basically do is we will simply mug up the entire program and we'll simply write it on the computer and we'll still face the bugs and we don't risk. So in the course, we will get reduced some marks, but in the reality, that is not going to happen. So in the reality, you will be given with the scope and a small requirement which have to be achieved through writing a program. But Go, you cannot able to do that without learning. So there is a huge difference in doing the practical in the colleges and doing stuff in the reality. So here you have to do some research on many items and then you have to fix the problem that we have explained. So the next issue is iteration, short iteration and speed up the learning process. So like in the beginning, Pratik said, if you are going to fail, fail fast. So that can be achieved through the iteration process because so no managers and no developers will work on a single feature than a week. I mean, single issue more than a week. So they will do the work on the issue, they will testing, and then they will do the unit testing. And if they find out any bug, they will resolve it, and then they will refactor it. Refactor means basically restructuring the code, making it more proper, more clear. And then once they integrate that completed feature in the into the live, and then we have to receive the customer response, and then we have to act accordingly. We have to make sure that what we have done is working properly or not. So that is called short iteration and speed up the learning process. Next slide. Okay, so on the previous slide, I would like to give an example to you to the learning process. So do you know that the WhatsApp that I have seen 7 years before is not the WhatsApp software that I'm seeing right now. So there are a lot and lot of features has been added. So in the beginning of the stage, WhatsApp doesn't have the video call. Previous slide. Go to previous slide. Yeah. So in the learning process, so for the past 7 years, WhatsApp is keep on increasing and providing many more features and updates for the process. Correct. So now, right now, if I say that I want to create a WhatsApp software, that is not going to be more valuable because it's a 7 years of learning from the WhatsApp and entire WhatsApp team, but that cannot be achieved in a short period of time. They have to compete with the market, right? So first time the adding the status was implemented in Instagram, so it became more famous. So we have to find out what is exactly currently running in the market. We have to utilize those. Okay, someone has raised a question. What are the criteria to eliminate the waste? Like what will be basis of elimination? Can you go to previous slide? Okay. So the criteria to eliminate waste. So like I said, while the scope analysis, we can able to eliminate the waste. Scope analysis means customer will come up with a requirement saying, I want this authentication module, I want this feature to be implemented, I want this payment gateway, I want some other random features. Okay. So in this one, if something that you find which not pro making the product, where we have to go with a set of goal for a product. For example, Amazon is basically a website for purchasing, right? So adding some other different features like a social login, sorry, so like Facebook, that kind of features if we add, it is not going to be make any value. So it means it is a waste for the Amazon product. Okay, so giving advertisement, yeah, it makes value in social media, correct, but not in Amazon. So in that we can able to find out and eliminate the waste. So we have to stick with the goal. So based on the goal, the add-ons that you are going to put should make some value out of it. You should get some value out of it. If that doesn't matter, so if doesn't happen, you can consider that part as a waste. Okay, so now let's go to the next question. which is third slide. Okay, so decide as late as possible. Software development is about uncertainty. What do I mean by uncertainty? So here, once the project gets started, once we receive the scope from the customer, we will do some analysis. We will split up the products into high-level features. The high-level features will be split up into small backlog items, and then the backlog will start. Where we will start working on the project. We will initialize the development stage of the project. So once the project gets started, the customer will think more about the product that we are developing. So what they will do is every single day they will start adding more and more features in it. Okay, so we have to know when to say no and how to say no to the features that is being added. Okay, so instead of saying no, we can say that we can do it later. So decide as late as well. Okay, so because if I add the new features that customer is giving us, we can able to complete the project within the time bound that we have fixed. Okay, so that is why we call it as software development is uncertainty. Okay, so the next thing is there are many answers to one question, of course. So with for example, the many problem can be solved. The solution can be provided for a problem in many different ways. But we have to make sure that what are the pointers that, for example, it's our responsibility to find out a quick solution, which solution is going to be the quick solution to develop, which is easy to use, and which one is more certain for the development. So those kind of pointers can be taken out. Okay, so it's a person's right decision. It's a product owner's right decision to make. To take the responsibility to find out which answer is the right answer for a one question. Okay, which solution is a perfect solution that everyone's agree upon. So this can be done by giving the KT or having a brainstorm session. Okay, so let's see the customer product first. So let customer see the product first. So what does it mean that? Okay, so in Scrum framework or in the Lean framework, even in the Agile methodology, we use something called sprint. Cannot go beyond 30 days. Okay, so we can have a very shorter sprint for a week and we have a long sprint for a month, but it should not go beyond a month. So that so once the sprint end, we have to make that we are releasing a potentially shippable product to the user, to the customer, so that they can start using it and they can start getting the value out of it. Okay, so next slide. Okay, so deliver as fast as possible. It deliver rapidly. So in Agile methodology, you're going to have a sprint cycle, which includes identification, development, testing, and retesting and deploying. Everything is going to be covered up in a 1 month time period of maximum. Okay, so which means if you deliver some, so first we have to keep some milestones in it. Okay, so that if a milestone gets fixed, then we can release the product so that customer can some value from the product and they can start using the product at the early stage. How these milestones are being differentiated, being categorized, are being separated. So here, um, I'll come up with the Amazon example. Okay, so the Amazon website, we have to purchase a product that is our primary goal. User have to purchase a product. That's a primary goal. If suppose without any authentication module, I'm just going to show the product on the home page. User can click it. User can provide their address, the phone number, and everything, and they can click on deliver. So that product can be delivered, and this only creating a home page can be a milestone. After that, we can create an account. We can keep the authentication module and the card. This can be as a next milestone, so that the owner of the account can start using the product. People can start purchasing it even in the once we complete the milestone one. So in that way, the product has been started using in the earlier stages. Okay, otherwise, the main problem in the waterfall model is um, to create a website or to create a software, the customer have to wait for 7 to 8 months of the time period. So by the end of the time, no one knows what new advanced features will arrive. So the software that we have delivered might get outdated in a short period of time. So that we have to keep the deliver rapidly. So every customers used to like the rapid delivery, and this makes more value to the customer, and also VCs can able to see the product on the live and they can put more fun on it. So this is why the rapid delivery is very important. Next slide. Okay, so most of you people would have noticed this, would have seen this chart. Here at the bottom, you can see there is something called product backlog, and the top we are taking one box out of it, and we are making it as chunks, and then we are starting the development. So the development time period should not go more than 30 days. Okay, so we will complete developing it and then we will release the product, which is called potentially shippable product increment. So once the product is released, the user have to start using it. In that way, the sprint have to be separated. Okay, at the top you can see that there is something called daily Scrum meeting. What does it mean? So this is a practice in Agile, which is every day morning should have a 15-minute call, and this call have to happen in the morning, makes more value. Okay, so in that call, all the developers, all the developers should join the call and they have to explain what they did yesterday and what they are planning to do, and what are the blockers that they are facing. Okay, so being a project manager, I should not go and keep on annoying them by asking the status update every 2 hours or asking the status update with every individual. Okay, so I'm doing that. I will disturb them only for 15 minutes. That is called stand-up call. Okay, which can be developed. Okay, I got another question. As a lean software development is rapid and requires great skills to be, is there any margin for the errors in project? Okay, so Vedant, can you unmute yourself and can you explain this question in detail?
Sir, as the lean software development process is very fast, and sir, it is mandatory to be disciplined, and everyone in the team should have great skills. So, sir, while the process is going on, every step will be
Mhm.
taken to another step. So, I was asking that whether
Okay,
there are margin or of error or not.
okay. So first of all, not only in the lean, in the entire agile methodology, there is should be self-dependent. Actually, all the developers should be independent. Okay, they should be self-managed. Okay, so that is the discipline that they have to keep. For example, there is the word DOD, definition of done. Okay, so every people who is working on the sprint, every developers, for example, in a sprint we might have um, a designer, we might have a developer, we'll have a business analyst. Okay, so a tester, a QA person, I mean, everyone will sit together and they will work on the project for the sprint to get the product delivered. Okay, so if a designer says the work is getting done, so it means the designer has completed only his. It doesn't mean that the entire product gets completed. The entire task is done. Okay, if the developer says it is the task done, it means um, only the development stage is done. If a QA person says testing is done, it means only the testing is done. So that kind of practice should not happen in the agile frame methodology. Okay, in the lean. So we have a rule called definition of done. Someone says this backlog is item is done, it means it can be either a designer, it can be either a software developer, or a tester, if someone says the task is done, it means all the activities in the task is completely done. So there should not be any answer questions raises. Okay, so many people used to say the task is done, but only this 10% of work is pending. The task is done, only the testing is pending. So it means it is not done based on the rule. So that kind of discipline we need. And of course, we need a great skill. So in a team, we'll be having a lot of experienced people and also some freshers. So what the freshers also will work on the project and the experienced people will support the freshers to get the work done. So these kind of disciplines are being maintained in the software development. So there is a possibility to get the errors. So even after releasing the product, we will get the errors because customers will start testing it. So they might find a different kind of errors, and they might find that that what they have expected is not meeting the requirement that meeting the expectation that we have made. So in that cases, we can definitely uh, take the feature again, we can test it, we can raise the issue as a again into the product backlog, and then we will start fixing it on the next day. So this kind of follow-up is happening on software development. Hope I have answered your question. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so next slide. Creating a backlog in Jira. So this is the Jira panel. Okay, so here you can, there are list of backlog items that is listed down. So the item number 2 that I'm talking about, 23 issues are listed down here. Here in Jira, if someone mentioned it is as an issue, it is not an issue, it's a product backlog we are talking about. It's a story that we are talking about. Okay, on the top one, the first option that you can see is selected for development. So here you have to drag and drop the items from the backlog to the first row so that that is being added onto the current sprint. So the sprint will have a goal. Okay, so we have to set a goal. For example, um, for example, if I'm going to take an authentication module, so I have played, the goal is going to be like, as a user, I should be able to successfully log in to the website. So that includes the forget password, login, sign up, and OTP verification. So all these points have to be included into the sprint goal, and we have to achieve that so that the product can be potentially shippable. The user can start using it, start using the authentication module. Okay, so the third option that you are seeing is called the description of the particular user story. So here, so there is a rule to write this data. So as a user, if I do this, I can achieve this. So in that way, this have to be added. Okay, so you have to add your acceptance criteria, your test case documents, your attachments that is needed to get the work done. The files, everything have to be attached into this particular disk of the particular user story, so that as a developer you will not find a difficulty in working on this code. Okay, everything will be here. So at the end of the time, to make sure I'm achieving the acceptance criteria that is mentioned at the bottom. Okay, I'll give you some real-time example for this. Next slide. So this is the physical board. Okay, so here we can see the to do, in progress, and done. So now these days we cannot use it because most of us have started working online. So here we needed we cannot use the physical board. So everything has been digitalized. Okay, so here you can see that this is called sprint backlog. Okay, so here on an active sprint we'll be having a list of items in the list of items in progress, and the list of items in done. Okay, so every day morning we will refine this board. Okay, so we'll plan on the daily stand-up call. So which task can be taken today? Okay, so and then we will start the in progress. If there is a task in progress, is it done? If it is done, then we move to the done status. And if there is any blocker for a particular task that is need to be done, we will put that in the blocker, and who is responsible to fix the blockers have to start working on those. Okay, so go to next slide. Okay, so this is a Trello board. Trello is basically following a Kanban framework that is also a part of it. Okay, so Kanban board is nothing but we will be having a lot of boards like this. Okay, so here you can see that backlog is there, up next, in progress, on hold, done, questions. You can either create any number of cards that you want. Okay, here from the backlog, I can move it to the in progress, and then I can move it to the done. If something is on hold, I can move it to the hold place. And if there is new requirements that is come, we can put it inside the question and we can get it done. So this is how the Kanban board looks like. So next slide, next slide, Pratik. Okay, back. Okay, so this is the Scrum board in Jira. So Jira is a software which is very famously being used here. So here you can note there are only three options. One is to do, in progress, and done. So we have a discipline that we have to keep only three list of rows. Okay, so from here we can able to drag and drop any items from to do to in progress, and then we can move it to in progress to done. Okay, so this refinement will happen on this activity will be happening on the stand-up call every day. Next slide. Okay, so this is MS project software. Okay, so here this might look a little bit more confusing, but what we used to do is we have to add all the tasks one by one, and some tasks might follow a sequential flow. Example, if I consider that there is an authentication module, I cannot start working on the task called forget password. If I want to use the forget password feature, I want to make sure I already have an account. For creating an account, first I have to do the sign up, which means there is a sequence that have to be maintained, correct? So first I have to do sign up task, and then I have to work on login task, and then I have to work on forget password. So this is how the flow should be. Okay, so and OTP cannot be taken at the last. OTP have to come with the sign up process. So in that way, every task will be split up and the task will be um, kept in a sequential way. Okay, so this is actually called a roadmap. So this feature can be used in MS Project or Jira. So Jira has recently introduced the roadmap, but it is not being used effectively right now. But in future, it is going to be more effective. Okay, next slide. Yeah, this is the roadmap feature. Yeah. So here I can able to assign the task, and only by assigning the task I can able to identify, okay, this work is going to this much of time, so it is going to start on March and it is going to done June or July. So in way I can able to easily do the work, and I can able to easily do the estimation, or I can provide the delivery deadline to the stakeholders.
Okay,
Okay,
Sidharth.
so one person raised a question: how often you check the board? So only on the stand-up call I will check the board. After that, um, I mean I will do changes on the board only on the stand-up call. So the next day stand-up call, we will do it again. So this is how often we will do it.
Okay, Sidharth. So can I take over?
Okay. Hmm. Yes.
Oh, okay. So, okay, let me tell you the principle number 5, that is empowering the team. So, what does empowering the team means? It basically means that you understand their concern, or if there is any concern, they have a suggestion, they have a feedback. So, every feedback is an additional good process that we are implementing it on our product. Some feedbacks cannot be that important, but some feedbacks can really add value, and those features or pointers will make your software even better and make a place for in the market. Ultimately, we are solving a problem, we are finding a solution to the user. So sometimes the market becomes stagnant, and all we a thing that okay, we are looking and searching for an idea, but what happens if we restrict this? So we are not allowing the room for suggestions any flows. So in the stand up call or in the sprint review meeting or in the sprint introspection, people share their suggestion, they share what went bad, what could have been done better. Okay, so after identifying these things, we will see that how we can improve this in our next sprint cycle. So that is, we are finding good people and letting them do their job. We are not, as Siddharth said, we are not micromanaging them, or we are not asking them for status in every few hours. So that is, we are finding good developers who have good communication, and we are just letting them do their job. Once they dig deep, and they will obviously give us some feedback or suggestion regarding the technological feasibility, or if in future you want to scale. So they say that okay, if you want to scale sometime in the future, so we can do this thing differently. So this is a huge plus. Otherwise in future it will just add up on the budget, it will increase the budget, that will not make much sense. So that is, people are not resources, they need motivation. Okay, so let's say you are using a computer, you are using a mobile. So that is a resource available to you for doing the job. But people are not resources. They will give you suggestion. They are introspecting all the requirements, all the features, all the code structure, and once they do the good job as a project manager, you you definitely need to motivate them. So these small things you can take one-on-one calls, one-on-one. You can identify that what problems they are facing or dealing with. Okay, once they have done a very good job, which imparts the client satisfaction, they give good feedback. So that is really important. Okay, so next slide. We are building the integrity in. So as I said previously, we are not building just for the sake of building the software or product. Okay, this is a e-commerce website, this is a marketplace for customers, they're getting the products and they will get it delivered on the doorstep. No. So this is our objective, but at the same time we have to maintain the integrity, we have to maintain the customer experience with the system. So you often heard that okay, sometimes Microsoft Windows is very user friendly, sometimes Mac OS is really user friendly. So ultimately how you are presenting your software product with the users, how you are making it user friendly. So this integrity you definitely have to maintain. If they are not enjoying the flow of your product, so they will avoid using it. The next comes the conceptual integrity. So it should be flexible. So as Siddharth also previously mentioned, if you're building something, let's say a very good example, some projects you build on your minor projects in college life, some in the major projects. So oftentimes our professor says that okay, you have built this, but in future I would like you to add more features. So would you be able to say that it is flexible enough to add, or it will just take double the time? So you have to keep in mind the future prospect always, even if you are in college or even if you are an organization, you have to maintain the future prospect. So next is conceptual integrity. Next comes the maintainability. Okay, so once you have built the product, once it is live, next comes the maintenance phase. So everyone knows that the technologies are changing very rapidly. Sometimes you can say PHP was older. Now you can see people in Angular, React, Next.js, very advanced frameworks of React.js libraries. So your the technology you have developed in, you also need to maintain it from the future. They release their version, they release their documentation. You need to be very proactive and just maintain the technology dependencies of the product. Say at the same time you have to maintain the efficiency. Some websites, okay, you will type the domain address, for example www.gmail.com. You can see that it loads within 2 or 3 seconds if you have a good internet connection. But sometimes that can be also taking long time on some devices with a not a very good internet connection. But at the max it would load the page in around let's say 6 to 8 seconds. So we are maintaining the efficiency. Okay, so as there are multiple thread, if your application is single threaded or multi-threaded application, so you have to see the technological aspects of it. Next is the responsiveness. So the website you see in the desktop, right? And the same website you see in the mobile version or in the tablet, so you see that it is being responsive, correct? So you need to see that you are building a progressive web application. If the components are getting properly arranged in the mobile application, or it is just getting cluttered, otherwise we just click on settings and we request the request desktop version view. So that should not be the case. It should be a progressive web application. So these things are, you can say, these are non-functional requirement to bring maintain the maintainability, efficiency, responsiveness, flexibility, accuracy, those all things. So we are seeing the whole picture. So principle 7 says see the whole picture. That is, software product is not equal to sum of its part, right? Software product is an increments of features. So all the feature act as a whole. So once we integrate all those features in the system, it compromises of the software product. Similarly, we need to think about the affected areas when we have to fix defects or when we have to add new features. So once your product or your once your software is live, right? So many startups come to us, approach us. They say, okay, this is my budget. Okay, I want you to build this thing. We say, okay, we have this much plan, 2 or 3 months plan. These are number of resources. These are the budget. After that, we provide them a support period. That is, let's say for 1 month or 2 months or 3 months, we provide them a support period. In this support period, the actual user end user identifies some defects. They want to they will suggest you that, okay, please add this feature. This will make our experience very smooth, will help us. So in these areas, we can see that we have to fix some defects or add some new features. So in the whole, we are optimizing our product. Initially, what happens, like a team of, let's say, 5 to 20 people or 30 people are deciding the whole product and making it, building it. It is deployed, it is getting live. But once the product is live, there is a possibility that around 2000, 3000, or even more than 100,000 people will use this product. So we need to keep that in mind and we need to optimize it according to the scalability of the product. So next is, what are the challenge faced in traditional waterfall based projects? So agile is not very something new, but in the companies, in the IT organizations, it is implemented newly. Previously, everyone was following either waterfall based methodologies or spiral methodologies. So what happened that, okay, we are doing the analysis phase, then we are doing the design phase, the designing the architecture, designing the website, mobile application. Then, okay, we are implementing the same, we are developing the same. Then it goes on the testing phase. Then it goes on the maintenance phase. So this is a typical waterfall model, what generally it looks like. So there is always a chance of scope creep. What is scope creep? Okay, you have defined some features in the scope that, okay, these 10 features I am going to cover in this software. But what happened, let's say in the implementation phase, development phase, there are some developers who said, hey, this third feature which you have implemented is really have some interlinked dependencies or external third party dependencies. So if you are integrating a payment gateway, let's say PayPal or Stripe, so it will have third party dependencies. It will need some compliances from the Indian government or from their side perspective. What are the technological dependencies? So sometimes these things take time and affect the scope. Some, okay, we will say that, okay, the one plugin or one API needs to be included more. So that is a scope creep. you know Next is, makes changes difficult. So if you are getting a change request, so as a BA, once everything is done, the designing the software requirement specification document or use case document or the wireframes, once the product went into the development phase, always the customer says that, okay, I find this feature really good and I think our competitors are also using it, so I need you to just integrate in our product. So they will say, okay, please just push this in a product. But what will happen that your timeline will get affected, your timeline will get extended, budget has to be increased. We also at the same time need to check if there are related dependencies. So what it results in, it typically makes more expensive, it takes longer to deliver the project. and it is obviously less flexible in the waterfall model. It delays testing until after completion. So once we are completing one milestone, let's say authentication module, your next milestone will be making purchases. Your third milestone can be to provide the reviews. So we are delaying the testing until each milestone gets developed. So this is the real-time issues which we face in our industry when following waterfall-based methodologies. So how we got to know about agile? We see that okay, in the industry, people are moving to agile-based lean framework. So we just seen the report survey. We see how these problems are getting resolved. So there are many reasons. We are accelerating the product delivery by providing the product in short iterations. We are enhancing the ability to manage changing priorities. We are obviously increasing productivity. If a developer gets a new requirement, so he has to think again. So it might decrease the productivity. But in this, everything is defined. Everything is happening in short iterations. So it is really not a headache, and they can do their job very easily. We are enhancing software quality based on the frequent feedbacks. We are enhancing the delivery predictability. So what happens in this? Okay, we are saying that okay, in 2 weeks time we are releasing 4 features. So the predictability score is really high. In terms of waterfall based models, you can say sometimes there is 2 months decided time period. It can extend to 2.5 months. What is the reason? Because there can be some another thing. There can be scope creep, or they sometimes client wants to add some new features. So in the same time, agile based lean methodologies are improving businesses IT alignment. The customer is happy. We can easily manage our product. We are improving the project visibility. Everyone gets a clear idea of what needs to be done, and that is simply based on the definition of done. Next is we are reducing the project risk. So in IT, there is high chances of when a project can get failed. So we are improving this perspective also. That is reducing the project risk. Everything is clear to everyone. So the client is clear, the developers are clear, the stakeholders are clear. So it really improves the project visibility. Next is we are improving the team morale by taking one-on-one stand-up calls, by motivating them. Everyone gets a good morale and is in a good space. Improve engineering discipline. So there is not something okay that today you are working on this feature. So there is some another. Let's say there is a front-end developer who was working on the user interface. There is a back-end developer who is working on the actual functionality. So let's say there are two people. Let's say one working on React, one working on Node. So React guy handles the front end, Node handles the back end. So sometimes there are dependencies on that task. Sometimes they are stuck. They need feedback of one of the front end or back end developer. So similarly, we have in this case when everything is defined, we are improving the engineering discipline. The interlinked working capacity and the coordination improves. We are reducing the project cost. Okay, so what happens in this case, as in the case of startup, many projects have a fixed budget. They say, okay, let me build the very required features first, the MVP model first. Once this gets approved, once I get some more funding, once I get the cash flow, I will take some I'll take the software and present it to venture capitalists in the seeding rounds. So in what happens that okay, in waterfall based model there is fixed amount that you have to spend. But what happens here, you can build a small project. So if it works out, once you get more funding, you can scale on it. That is reducing project cost in agile based lean framework. Another thing is increasing the software maintainability. Software maintainability is very well increased. So you all know when you're using mobile apps, Google Play Store, the developers listed in it push frequent updates. Let's say sometimes in a day or sometimes in a week, you can see the updates always mentioned in the description. Okay, this bug is being fixed. We are fixing this thing according to the user's feedback. This is what we have improved. So they can better manage distributed teams. There are for the big projects there are various teams. You can say there are two types of development teams. One is the web development team, one is the mobile app development team, and at the same time there can be multiple business analysts. So what they do that they all work and combine working in the distributed teams. So in agile based lean framework, it makes it very easy to manage these things. So there are some top companies in the IT industry who are scaling agile to the next level. As you know, you all at the some point of the career, you will be wanting to work in Microsoft, Google, IBM, or TCS, Infosys. So I think the better you adapt to the agile frameworks, better agile methodologies, you will be able to work very, very smoothly there. You will outshine from rest of the other people who are still, I think, have the idea of waterfall based methodologies. So our main motive is to educate you on the agile methodology, what in the industry takes place. So you can see that Tesla is being adopted, Fitbit, your fitness band, fitness watch trackers, Ericsson, PlayStation Network, that is your gaming consoles, Tech Mahindra, Deloitte, SAP Systems, Oracle, HP, and many, many more companies. Okay. So thank you so much, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for your time. If anyone has questions, please
Pratik,
tell me. Yeah,
yes, I like to show something to everyone.
sure, sure.
Let me present the screen. Okay, so this is a quick presentation of how we actually work. So we have told you that the everything that we are happening that is happening inside theoretically, but how it is really happening, how the software development is really working. So first, what we do is we get the scope from the customer. So defining the scope and getting the scope is the first phase of the software development. So in this stage, what we actually do is a business analyst or software architect or even a customer will create a document like this. Okay, so this is a lame document which has 40 to 50 pages of what need to be done on the project. Okay, so after this, we'll be preparing the wireframes. Okay, so wireframes is looks something like this. Okay, so welcome John. This is the project which we are working on right now, a real-time project. Okay, so here this is the prototype. It looks more like a sketch that was done in a pencil. Okay, so after that, this prototype, sorry, let me present again just a minute. Okay, hope my screen is visible again. So here
Yes.
the prototype, so the I have showed you the wireframe. So this is wireframe looks like. So once the wireframe is done, this was done by Pratik. Okay, once the wireframe is done, this wireframe will be moved and approved by the customer. Okay, so once the customer approves the wireframe, it will be taken care by the designer. So what designer have to do is they have to make a proper design using some set of tools like Adobe XD. So what the wireframe that I showed, that is this one. Okay, so you guys can see the difference and see the similarities. So it's the same, but it is properly designed page. Okay, so after this design, what happens is it becomes a prototype. Okay, so you cannot simply provide this design to the user. After this design, we have to get the approval from the customer. So once the design gets approved from the customer, we have to create a prototype. So prototype creation will be taken care by this was done by Pratik. Okay, so here you can see the entire page is made as a prototype through an application called InVision. Okay, here you can see that everything is linked together, all the pages. Okay, when I on this, it goes to another page. Okay, so yes and no, it looks like a prototype for the entire website. Okay, so once the prototype is created, after that we will start creating a backlog in the Jira software. Okay, so this is the Jira software which looks in the reality. Okay, so here as a partner, I want to create an event or posting. So like this, I will start creating the backlog items. Okay, so product owner have to create the backlog items. Once the backlog is created, so now everything have to be become as a developer input. So we use a separate software called Zeppelin. Okay, so because you cannot share this prototype that I showed you to the developer, so developer cannot work with this. They have to know what color this is, what size of this, what size this file is, everything have to be known. So what they can do is they can use a software called Zeppelin like this. Here, when you open this Zeppelin tool, the developer can easily pick up the details of the particular design page. Okay, when I click on this, you can see so the height, width, and images, the size, and everything of this entire page. So in this way, the certain developer can able to take all these data, and then that is going to be the design developer input, and that inputs will be provided inside this backlog item only. So here, this is the backlog item. I'm just selecting this. Here you can see the description. So here you see the design link. When I click on this link, it will directly open this design that I showed you. And then acceptance criteria. So some of the acceptance criteria are some low-level features that can be defined here. Okay, so now the development will start by keeping this as an input. So all these items will be taken care in the active sprint. Okay, so this is the active sprint to do in progress, testing, and done. So here I can drag and drop the task in the stand-up column so that this task will be taken care by someone. I will assign this task to someone. So someone will work on this. Once the task is done, they will into testing. The tester will test it again, and then it will come back and forth like this. Okay, it will come back and forth like this. Once the testing is completely done, it will be directly moved to the done status. Okay, so this is how the development is happening in the real time. So once development is and testing is done, it will go to the deployment state. Deployment means we will deploy the website on the live, so that a user can use it. So now the product will go live like this. Okay, so hope everyone have understood how the software development work in reality. Okay, okay then Pratik, you can
Yeah,
carry forward.
yes, Sidharth. So there is a question asked by Vedant Jain. How to know when to use lean software development? Is there any specific project type or it is best method for all software projects? So Vedant, what happens that it is based on every case scenario. So let me show you the example. Let's say you are the owner of a food chain. Okay. So you only need to manage the inventory and you only need to manage the food inventory. Okay, and you'll manage the resources if it is getting consumed very quickly. So what happens in this case, we will suggest the client to, okay, we can develop in the waterfall based methodology, because he has a specific set of requirements which he wants to just solve a problem. But what will happen in this case, he doesn't want to scale it. This is an very internal sort of thing which he is implementing for his process or system. So in this case, they can implement the waterfall based methodology. But if he needs to integrate in something like a Zomato, where he wants to just not just wants to manage the inventory, he wants to manage the orders, the point of sale systems, the delivery guys, the feedback review, then we suggest that the best case scenario for this is moving on to the agile based frameworks. The next is from Chitransh. How do we know which framework will be best for us or the customers? So I think in the same example of a food chain, if you're solving an internal process which you're not planning to scale in the future, in that case, the waterfall works for you. In case if you want to scale it like Zomato, if you need to manage your inventory, reviews, and manage the delivery system, then I suggest you to go to the Agile. Okay, Chitransh. Next is from Sparsh. What would be the favorable lean development team job profiles for any app development project? Okay. So job profiles I think you are suggesting in the case of what the developers should know about the technology. Is it right, Sparsh? Okay. So see, there are let's say for an e-commerce, there are many developers, many type of technologies available in the market. For front end, you can say there is React, Angular, or PHP. Likewise, for backend, you can say there is Node, Python, the Django frameworks. But what happens is that some projects have you need to really know about some technologies. Some technologies can have some those libraries which we can use very effectively. Some technologies have other libraries which will, let's say we are taking two example of a marketplace of an e-commerce place. So in that case, some technology will have the specific set of libraries which we can use. We can also integrate some custom libraries. We can make those, the developers can make those. But some you can say systems like event management systems for the project we are just working on. So for those, we are working on separate set of libraries. We need to check the cross compatibility. So this thing is generally a very technological feasibility. So if you would like to know the popular profiles that is today, I would suggest you go and become a MERN stack developer, full stack developer. That is Mongo, Express, React, and Node. This is there is a huge requirement in today's industry. You can also become, if you are focused towards the back end, you can go towards Python, Golang, all those sorts of technology. They are gonna stay in the market for a long time. Any more
Yes.
questions?
So, and
Yeah.
also for seeing the framework, it is very simple. So if you believe that the scope is very big, might take 1 year to get delivered. So in that case, you should not choose the waterfall model. Instead of that, you can choose lean. Instead of that, you can choose agile. Agile in that you can choose Scrum, because the time is going. Sorry, for 1 year time period, you can choose Kanban if the scope is at least defined. Okay, because Kanban board uses a list of stacks which you can drag and drop it. Okay, but in Scrum, if the scope is totally unidentified, in that places you can use this framework, and the project can go for 1 year or 6 months. Okay, if the project can be developed within a month or two, you can use the waterfall model. Okay, if the project wants to be very simple, like going to develop a prototype. Okay, so for example, in Elon Musk car, Tesla product, if he wants to develop a prototype, he use Lean framework because it's just a prototype. You should not use some highly expensive aerodynamic system or engine anything. Okay, so in that places you can use Lean. So based on the requirement of the customer, the frameworks can be chosen. Okay, any other questions? We are winding up the session.
Okay, sir. So there are no questions. So thank you, sir, for giving your valuable insights in the area of development. All the seven principles about lean development gave us a clear perspective for developing a software. Now, I would like to call Prahlad for a vote of thanks on the behalf of Department of CSIT. Prahlad, you are not audible.
Prahlad,
Prahlad,
your voice is
you are
mute.
not audible.
Yes.
So indeed, a wonderful and informative session it was. So moving towards the end of this session, and for the vote of thanks, on behalf of CSRT department, I would like to thank our speakers, Mr. Sidharth Natesan sir and Mr. Pratik Gupta sir, for giving their valuable contribution and time today. We owe you a special vote of thanks for giving insights about lean software development frameworks, profits of LSD, the principles, and about Jira software and other key areas in the present time. Also, I would like to thank our head of CSR department, Dr. Shilpa Bhalerao Ma'am, and our faculty coordinators, Professor Ruchika Chouhan Ma'am and Professor Anil Patidar sir, who made this session a grand success. At last, But not least, I would like to thank our faculty members and wonderful students who joined us here today. Once again, I thank you all for your cordial cooperation. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank
it
you,
was a
Pratik,
wonderful
and thank you,
session.
Siddharth,
So
for the wonderful session.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thanks.
I'm also mentioning my email address, so anyone can reach out to me. I will also mention my LinkedIn profile.
Okay, we will be in connect with you. If you have any
Yes,
kind of internship opportunity, please let us know.
definitely.
yes,
Okay, sir. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you very much,
yeah.
ma'am.
Thank you. Bye
The
bye.
feedback link is given into the message box. All students need to see the feedback form.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Oh,
Thank you. Bye.
thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
All the attendants, please fill the feedback form. Akshat have sent you the link of feedback form. You all need to fill the form before leaving.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Akshat. Thank you, Prahlad.
Welcome, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Yes. Anybody saying anything?